Hi, this is Mike Cuddy, and I'm here talking to you about another one of my projects. This one is not a data science project, or is not even dealing with Python at all, or Pandas, or Angular or React, but it is dealing with JavaScript, just plain old vanilla JavaScript. And I finally, after maybe 15 months, 18 months, I finally decided to build a JavaScript Tic Tac Toe game as well as a calculator. And so I just decided to do this maybe starting about a month ago, and then really put a lot of effort into both the projects starting about 10 days ago around. So I knocked both of them out. I'm actually quite happy that I've actually finally done this. And it's something I've been meaning to do for a while. And for me, it really boosted my confidence with JavaScript that I understood what was going on. So if we look at the index.html document that we see here, it just has a normal board here, and I use a lot of flexbox just to lay out the board, and I'll show all this. The site is actually up on the web, so you can look at it there, and I'll show you that at the end of it. But it has just a very simple board and everything like that throughout here. And we go over and look at the JavaScript, and I basically have these global variables up here and a game array. And it basically just works by clicking on the squares, and it goes through all the actions. So you have 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, so on. I really was trying to figure out a way to rotate it to not repeat the code right here. So you see it's basically the same right here, these two things. But the problem was there's like this 1 square and 2 square thing that everyone is different. So 3 square would be 3 square, and so on. So there was something that was not like really a big deal for me. I'm just happy that I knocked this out. This down here was what determines a winner, and it checks, or it determines if there's a tie game. So that's basically my whole JavaScript code right here. And I have this restart function right as well down here that restarts the whole game board. And so if we quickly look at it, and I'll show it, demonstrate it. So when it's starting, here's the screen. Player 1 is highlighted green, player 2 is white. And so it just goes back and forth, which you'll see. So I'll make my first move here. Playing against myself, player 2 is now green, so it's their turn. He'll move here. Player 1 is going to move here. Player 2, my other half, is not going to be very smart and will go right here. And then player 1 will play right there. And winner, it now says. And so now you can just basically hit the reset button and the whole board's reset. And so that's it for the JavaScript demo that I have. And like I said, it's up on the web, and I have that link in my GitHub page as well as in the README file for this project. So the next project I want to talk about is my calculator, which we'll come back to that in a second. And this I have a ton of code in, and I've actually tried to break it up by using functions. So if I go right down here, I have these like functions. I have really weird names. Yeah, kind of like the thing I thought of at the moment. And I use these functions in multiple places. Like you see join push, clearing array, push right here, then right here. And that helped to really shorten the amount of code that I have. Because look at these functions. I mean, join push has 3 lines in it. Clearing array to push has 4 lines in it. Another 4 lines here. So that really helps save up a lot of lines because I use them all throughout my project. So one of the things, well, the main thing I want to talk about on this calculator is that it was really hard for me to really figure out, and I've tried to make this in the past, is how when you click on a number, then you click like the plus sign, and how do you remember the number, especially when you're adding them together? Because the only situation I could figure out how to do that was by, you would have to use every single number, have scenarios for if you did 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3, and I've never seen the solution, and I didn't really look at, I didn't look at any guides when I made this calculator or the tic-tac-toe game. But the solution I came into, and it just popped into my mind. I was actually looking down at the floor at my son, who's about 4.5 months now, and it just popped in my mind that I was going to use an array. So I have 2 arrays here. I have this one array I call num array, this other one called number container. And this array is going to hold the numbers as you type them in. So if I type in a 3, that 3 gets pushed into the array. Then if I type in like another 3, it gets pushed into the array. And before like they're displayed, as what's actually displayed up on the screen would be 33, because that number array, I join those 2 3s together to make one number 33. Then what happens is that 33 number, when you hit the plus sign, it gets pushed into this number array. And so the numbers that are pushed in the number array are what's actually added together to display the results. So that was how I kind of figured out this problem that had been plaguing me for God knows how long. Whenever I thought about making a calculator in JavaScript, I just could not solve it. Like I said, I couldn't solve the problem of how to make it like if you have one number, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3, it just seemed like I had to cover every single scenario. And I know there's probably a better, easier way around that. And so if you see as well that there's not that much comments, it's because a lot of these functions are the same, are very similar to each other. So they basically do the same thing. So that's why I'm not going to write the same comments over and over and over again. But that's what I'm doing right here. So I take in a value, which is, if you look back up at the previous button functions, and the number array, they're joined in the display, and then that number is displayed on the screen. So now if I kind of show this, and maybe it makes sense, I'll refresh it. Now watch something not go right here. So if I have, let's just say 32 plus 3 equals 35. So when I hit in and I have my clear button right here that just clears the screen, I don't have it have a 0, I just decided to have it a blank screen, but looking back on it, maybe I should have had a 0 to make it look like something's there. So if I type, when I originally was making this, you would type 3, and if I would type it again, there'd be nothing there. So the way I solved that, like I said, is I used an array, so that 3's up there. When I hit the 3 again, it's pushed into the array. So that first 3 is pushed into the array, and that second 3 is pushed into the array, and then they're joined together and pushed onto the screen as a number. So clear that, so I could do 30 times 20 is 600. So as far as I know, the calculator works fairly well if I do 2 plus 3 times 5 is going to be 25. So yeah, I got it working. I haven't tried every single issue with it and watch it have thinking if I do. So not sure what happened there, but yeah, overall it works. And like I said, I think it still has some bugs, so I'm just happy that I got it working down at the most basic level. And yeah, I could have put more like Mike's calculator or something like that, but I just really wanted to have the functionality of the calculator going. And so that's it for my projects. And I may look at another mini JavaScript project just as something that I'm doing. And this next week, upcoming, starting June 19th, 2017, I'll be at a web development contest. So we'll see how that goes. And when I come back, I'll probably have a write-up about it. So other than that, take care.